I have been called several times by people who know me and people who don't a cynic. Make no mistake though, I am not a cynic. I am a disappointed romantic. As a romantic, I walk around the world with a picture in my head of the way things should be. When things aren't that way, it can create sadness, anger, or sarcasm. You know, things generally associated with cynics. I have a picture of the world in my head that in some cases I've never even lived in, like a world where a bright neon sign bathes Chevy Chase in a warm glow. I wasn't alive when the Chevy Chase Inn had such a sign, but the picture is clear in my head. That kind of romantic imagination is shared by Kevin Heathcote and the other owners of Chevy Chase Inn. That's why they started a Kickstarter to bring the sign back. An idea that I love. We're here at Chevy Chase Inn with Kevin, pronounce your last name? Heathcote. That's what I would have guessed, yes. But I don't want to embarrass myself. Yeah. They've started a Kickstarter campaign to replace a neon sign that used to be above Chevy Chase Inn. How many years ago?
You know, we don't know for sure, but definitely in the 50s and 60s.
So decades ago.
Absolutely.
I was in here talking to you earlier, and you said that all the owners were in favor of it, but it was kind of your baby a little bit. Why is it important to you to get that sign back up there?
Well, when we bought the place, we had 3 goals. Bring in craft beer, clean the bathrooms, and cover the back patio. And
2 out of 3 done.
Yeah.
Or no, 3 out of 3.
3. Yeah. But then as we got into it, there were some improvements we had to make. Like the floor is now almost level on the stage. It's a little leveler. The women's room, it's sort of level. So we had to do some improvements we weren't expecting, which equals a lot more finances going into it than we had budgeted or had. So when we finally got everything finished, it's like, all right, that's it. Unless the roof caves in, we're done. We've accomplished all our goals. And then as we were cleaning out an old storage closet, we found just boxes and boxes of pictures. And Smiley P. Publishing and Sarah Razor had written a coffee table book about CCI. And so all the regulars brought in old pictures, and they're still here. So when we were flipping through them, we found a picture of this old sign. And originally it said Chevy Chase Inn, and then underneath it said air conditioned bar grill. And in 1960, Doc Robinson, who was the owner at the time, got a liquor license. Before that, it was just a beer bar. And so he changed the lettering to say cocktail lounge to promote that it was actually liquor being served now. Because at that point in time, it was a big deal to have a liquor license. So when we found those pictures, immediately we knew that that sign was going to be recreated. It's long gone now, but we're working with Ruggles Sign Company out of Versailles, and they're have started the process of recreating it, and we've signed off on all of it. But we knew we couldn't afford it, and we made $2.73 a day pure profit in our first year. So the $2.73 a day was not exactly going to get this project done, and that's okay. I mean, we're projecting that next year we're going to triple our profits. So
$6 whole dollars.
Yeah, so under $10 a day still is not going to get it done.
Sure. Yeah.
Because we've invested everything we possibly have, and then some. We took out a loan we couldn't afford to save a bar that Lexington couldn't afford to lose over there.
So basically, Chevy Chase Inn was the oldest operating bar in Lexington.
It's the oldest continually operating bar. Yeah, so there's bars that were older, but they're not here anymore.
Gotcha.
When Prohibition ended, this bar opened up.
Gotcha. So original owners or the owners at the time decided they wanted to cash out.
Yeah, they'd actually been for sale for about 10 years. And they've had people over the years that have come in and wanted to buy it, offered full asking price, and they said no, because it wasn't going to continue.
They were going to put in, you said maybe a wine shop or retail
space. It wasn't going to be the right people. They knew that it wasn't going to be a good fit, so they said no. And 10 years later, 10 years older, and it was just, it was time for them to sell, and it was going to sell whether we bought it or not. One group came in and they wanted to put in a wine bar here. Another group wanted to put in put in retail.
But you and your partners said we want to keep it the way it is.
Absolutely, and I mean we had no intention or really any desire to buy Chevy Chase Inn.
They weren't looking to be bar owners.
Hell no. We drink so much that the last thing you need to
Seemed like a bad idea on some level.
It's been a horrible idea, and but it's been a hell of a lot of fun.
How's the Kickstarter going so
It's
far?
going really well. We just broke 50% of our goal.
Okay.
We just went over 50%.
And it's been like a week, less than a week?
Yeah, a little over a week now. Okay. And our thing is, April 19th, we just bought a brand new sign.
Yeah.
The sign that came with the bar was old and deteriorated and falling down, and so we took it down and we put up a sign we could afford.
Yeah.
So this isn't about having the community try to help us buy a sign.
Right, you've got a sign.
I've got the signage. I don't need a new sign. This is about letting the neighborhood vote with their wallets of whether they think this would be something cool to bring back and enhance our neighborhood.
This web series is largely about things in Lexington that I love, that I want to introduce people to if they don't know, which, Chevy Chase Inn, been here forever, doesn't need my help being introduced to people, but...
but in a sense it does, because, it's a little hole in the wall, and you'd be amazed of how many people in this neighborhood don't even know what this is, haven't been in. And once you walk in, you either love it or hate it.
Yeah, and
it's not for everybody. This is a dive bar.
But here's what's funny about that. Not for everybody, but any given night you could walk in here and you're going to see either old Lexington guys who've been here for 30 years, hipsters, punks, frat boys, beauty queens. So what makes a Chevy Chase regular?
Once you hit the door, the bartenders are friendly, the patrons are friendly, the guys, most of the regulars, these old guys, their stories start with, I started coming back in here when I was 14 years old. I started coming when I was 15. Hell, one of them told me the other day started coming when he was 13. But times are different.
Yeah, sure.
Back then, a beer was a nickel, so and you could only afford one or two.
That's not an imitation of 13.
No. This is coming from 60, 70, 80-year-old men. So no, it's not like that anymore. We card, we throw you out. But it's a very unique place. You walk in, and all those groups of people you just described will be sitting at this bar together, and they're talking.
Yeah, it's not tense. Yeah. It's not a weird vibe. And everybody belongs.
Yeah, and it's unbelievable to be on this side of the bar and look out and see that. Yeah. Because you don't get that in very many places.
No, not at all.
The tatted up punk rock kid is talking to an older gentleman who's a banker, lawyer, and in a nice suit. And where else would they talk to each other? Yeah. It just
in a bar that has tons of regulars, and I've said this to you before. My friends and I walked in and were immediately treated like regulars. We feel like when we walk in, people behind the bar are happy to see us. And
absolutely.
That'll keep you coming back to a place.
Absolutely.
And knowing that you own this, you own Bourbon and Toulouse, but where else do you like to hang out? What's good in Lexington?
We bought this place. It was going to change, and we bought it because
it was your place.
Bar.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Charlie Brown's.
Yeah. Right across the street.
Absolutely. When I moved here 12 years ago to open up Bourbon and Toulouse, I lived on the corner, and I could barely afford my rent, so I sure couldn't afford cable. Yeah. So many days and nights, if I wanted to watch a football game, basketball game, entertainment, I was either at CCI or Charlie Brown's.
Not assuming anything about what you believe, so maybe you got this from a belief in a higher power, maybe it's something you created for yourself, but why do you think you're here on this planet? Why do you exist? What do you need to get done before you die?
Man, you are getting deep on me. Got a shot of bourbon for you? No, it's funny. I was just talking about this the other day. Our mentor, Bourbon and Toulouse, guy named Joe Buskovich. He originally started Zoes Bayou Gumbo here in town. Okay. And then he opened up Yabs, and Will was his head cook off and on for about 12 years.
You can see a lot of the DNA is kind of threaded through those places. Yeah.
Absolutely. And, Will took what he learned with Joe and then made the recipes how he likes it. Mm-hmm. So, as with anything, you make a burgoo. It's all going to be the same concept, but none of it's ever going to be the same. That's kind of where we're at. But Joe told me one day, up in Indianapolis, that's where he is now, that's where I came from. He's told me that in life, you've got a goal, and that's to learn a skill. And then when you learn that skill, you'll get paid, and you'll be able to, pay your rent, buy a house, your food, buy some drinks, go to the movies, and that's your goal in life, is to be able to master a skill. And then you get married, and you got to provide for your wife, and then you got kids, and you got to feed them, and so that's what your end game is. And he said that and with that knowledge, you got two options. You can take that knowledge that you've mastered and pass it on to the next guy, so they can make money and buy food and provide for the family and all that, or you can take that knowledge to your grave and hoard it. And he looked at me and he said, and if you take it to your grave, you're a fucking asshole. I hope I can say that. I hope I can say that.
You're fine. Yeah.
So yeah. I don't know if that really answers it, but that's kind of what I was thinking. It's like, yeah.
Man, I can't wait to see that sign hanging up there. I have no doubt that's going to happen. So.
Well, we hope this Kickstarter continues to go the way we want, because we've already called the sign company. so go for it. Yeah. When it's all said and done, it's going to be about a $20,000 project. Because believe it or not, the 100-year-old farmhouse that CCI originally was has got some bad wiring.
Cannot support a sign.
Yeah, so we got some electrical work to do, and we've got make sure the structure's good up there, and all of that. So there's a lot more that's going into it than just purchasing a sign.
Sure.
But we feel very confident from the response we've gotten so far that this community is ready to back this and thinks this is something that will be worthwhile for our neighborhood.
Oh, awesome. Looking forward to seeing it.
So am I.
Kevin, man, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it, brother.
I really appreciate you coming in. This has been a lot of fun.
Thanks, man.